anti-fraud and corruption. It was finalized, but it was finalized after I was no longer a minister. So to claim that we didn't investigate this allegation will be wrong.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Once again, welcome to South Africa Lately, a channel that discusses South African trending news. We do, however, grab here and there from international news when it is trending enough to be brought here. Please do understand that I'm not a politician. I do not have deep knowledge in politics. However, I am a South African citizen who is also a voter, and I do believe that my views count when it comes to political affairs of our beautiful country. So, Sihle Zikalala denies the allegations by Amabhungane that he shielded the IDT from scrutiny. You know, a lot of things were being said on the news, and the rumors around, the news that was spread under hush that there is a lot of corruption in IDT, and they are giving each other contracts, Madala side, and they will be taking kickbacks left, right, and center. So we never really got to know what happened there. So the Amabhungane has alleged that Sihle Zikalala protected the entity from scrutiny, and he's saying no such a thing happened. And he also spoke on the unaliving of Magaqa, the confessions of the hitman. And also, Nje, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to leave you watching what he said, and then I'll come right at the end with my closing commentary to enjoy.
Zikalala is denying any wrongdoing after allegations that he helped shield the troubled Independent Development Trust from scrutiny. This was during his time as Minister of this department. The claims, first exposed by investigative unit Amabhungane, suggests that Zikalala played a role in blocking probes into procurement irregularities involving the beleaguered CEO, Magaqa. Zikalala joining me now from Cape Town to discuss this. Deputy Minister, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. Can I start off with this particular question? What role does the Minister of Public Works play in the appointment of a CEO, particularly in the Independent Development Trust, given that the entity has its own board? So what role would a minister play ordinarily?
Well, I think that is a critical question. Firstly, the minister does not participate in appointing or in shortlisting and recommending, but the board shortlist, advertise, shortlist, and make recommendations. And the minister must concur with the recommendation and then take that to brief cabinet. But it is a procedure that is standing that governance matters of public entities are handled by respective boards.
In your briefing today, you made it clear you did not interfere in the appointment of the CEO. However, a leaked letter seems to suggest that you were unhappy with the decision of the board. Are you able to expand a little bit on that for us?
When I came in, the very same board you are referring to, when I was appointed as a minister in April 2023, the very same board had appointed, I had advertised, shortlisted, conducted interviews, and then gave the report to the then minister, Honorable Delil, who took the matter to cabinet. I requested, after being appointed, an opportunity to look on the matter just to do due diligence. When I withdrew or I put the appointment from cabinet in abeyance, I had interaction with the board as to get briefings like a new minister with all other boards that are under the department. That's why it transpired that there were issues within the board that were emerging. I then engaged with the board. Subsequently, there was a report or an allegation that there was a lease of offices, a contract for lease of offices that was reported to be irregular. I gave the board time to investigate. I said, go and investigate. From April up until, I think, October, they could not investigate and give me a report. They were fighting among themselves up until I asked why we cannot release them. Others make representation, others opted to just resign. We then appointed some additional members who, when they assumed the office, felt the matter that the matter was too contaminated with a lot of issues. They brought it to the department and said the department must investigate. I instructed the department, the internal audit unit investigated and said the matter needs to be handled by the anti-corruption and fraud unit in the department. It also needed to be referred to the Auditor General.
Yeah.
I followed that and instructed the department to do that as it was. Now, while we were doing that on the sidelines, we were confronted by legal action taken by the candidate who wanted to be appointed, and it was a due process. That happened before my arrival.
Yeah.
I then said, okay, let us separate the two. The appointment on one side, the investigation be on one side. I'm told that the report was completed of our own internal anti-fraud and corruption. It was finalized, but it was finalized after I was no longer a minister. So to claim that we didn't investigate this allegation will be wrong. To claim that we expedited the appointment of the CEO will also be wrong. I'm the only minister who stopped the appointment. I'm the only one who also instructed the board to investigate.
Let me ask you this simple question then, Deputy Minister. At the time, the board chairperson was fellow ANC leader Kwazi Mshengu. Are you disappointed at his final decision to appoint Ms. Tebogo Malaka as CEO?
No. Can you be factual?
Okay.
At the time, the process of shortlisting, of advertising, shortlisting, and submitting to the minister the recommended candidate, the chairperson was not Advocate Mshengu. The chairperson was Ms. Zimbini Hills, who submitted to the then minister, Minister Delil. And then I stopped that process. And Mr. Advocate Mshengu only came in at the end and they said that the department must investigate. Then we investigated the matter.
And so who was the final authority in the appointment of Ms. Malaka?
The final authority was the board with the concurrence of the minister. And I halted that process because I found it to have been conducted and it was done, at the end. And then when I started investigation, I then said, let's investigate this matter. When they failed and quarrel among themselves, we then said, okay, appoint, because we're now taken to court by the candidate.
Yeah.
On the other side, continue with the investigation. The investigation has never been concluded. And that's why I believe there is a report from Anti-Fraud and Corruption Unit that should be by now with the department. I can't speak with authority on that because it should have gone through by now, all processes, and been implemented.
Are you surprised?
And I must say, attached to that, when the new minister came into the office, I gave him a 33-page handover report. I've been an MEC in 2 departments and the premier and the minister. I've never been given a report that is more than 15 pages. In some departments, I was never given a handover report. I gave a minister a report, which I gave him, and then requested an opportunity to brief him. I then briefed him. In that briefing, I did indicate that there is a pending investigation on the issue of IDT.
Are you surprised, therefore, at the allegations of massive wrongdoing within this entity, the IDT? And can you say, without doubt, that the entity was run in the most professional and clean ways during your tenure?
The entity had its own problems. That's why there was an investigation. That is the fact, and we have been dealing with those problems. Secondly, the report seeks to suggest that there is nothing that was done, and that's why I'm saying, because there is someone who claimed that there is nothing that was done, instead we were covering up. Let me take this matter with the public protector. It should be the public protector who must determine whether there is anything that was a cover-up or suppressing investigation on this matter.
Yeah.
And we do so because we must, one, appreciate that we have to be accountable at all times.
Yeah.
We are not above scrutiny. And that's why I'm surrendering myself to the public protector on this matter to check whether I ever suppress any investigation. But two, media freedom needs to be protected. Journalists are put under pressure to report wrong things about other people. And I'm not surprised to see this situation as we see others competing through the media to undermine the work that was done previously.
That is a very pregnant That's a very pregnant response, Minister, that last one. And it prompts an obvious question about the conversations that you say you have had with the current minister. You say you gave him a handover report. You explained what was going on. What is your relationship now with the current minister and conversations, if any, about the specific matter of the IDT with Minister McPherson?
Very cordial and professional. I participate in all meetings that the minister calls. I deliberate on issues that are in the table. Issues that are not in the table, I will assume that the office, the executive authority, is dealing with those issues. So that is the relationship.
Can I quickly ask you this question before I let you go, Minister? Sindiso Magaqa, in KZN, someone has confessed to his murder, and the implications go as far up as the leadership of the ANC in KZN. Are you disappointed that this is now the turn of events?
That is disappointing. It is very, very saddening. We hope that the truth will emerge. The confession, we've seen the statement in the public platforms. We hope that those who are being tried will be tried. If there are others who are implicated and are not yet arrested, will be arrested. Because such a thing is West and anti-ANC.
Thank you very much for your time. Sihle Zikalala is the current deputy.
As usual, guys, whatever your views are, kindly share them in the comment section. I'm looking forward to reading those. And if time allows me, I'm going to respond. But if it doesn't, I'm going to try by all possible means to react to show that I appreciate your participation in my channel. Do have yourself a beautiful day. I'll be seeing you in my next upload.